All right, guys, welcome to our Nation training. So we're coming to you live from AM Retreat right now. So I've got the gorgeous Maggie and Jen here, and then on the other screen, I've got Sheree and Ree as well. So these girls are about to kick off another day of AM Retreat in just an hour's time, which is so exciting. I'm sure they're literally like bursting with things they want to tell you guys as well. But today we're so lucky. We have the incredible National Vice President and Qualification Emma Fell on the call with us. It's 7 a.m. in the Gold Coast, Brisbane, I believe. So super early on a Sunday morning, and she's given up her time to be here to talk to you guys this morning. Emma's business is absolutely on fire. She was the second top achiever for all of AIT for Australia and New Zealand. That is a huge deal because that means she's actually been hustling and working her personal business like an absolute champ. Her journey is fast. She's got to National Vice President and Qualification really quickly. But she's a worker, guys. If you follow her on Instagram, you'll see she really works her personal business every single day. And I listened to Emma speak at AIT in Fiji, and I know Kate did as well. And we absolutely adore her. I think she's got so much that she can offer you guys. So I'm so thankful, Emma, that you've got up and spoken to speak to our nation today. And I know that everyone is, going to get so much out of this. So what I'm going to do is hand over to you and just let you take it away.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. Well, thank you so much for having me. I know, sorry, I look a bit rough. It is early, but I am so jealous of all of you that are at the AM retreat. I said on my story the other day, that's all I want right now is to be there. So I'm so jealous. But I know you'll be having the best time from all the stories. I'm just living through you guys. But yes, my name is Emma, and I am an independent consultant and executive regional vice president with Arbonne. And, I feel very honored to be asked by Lucy today to kind of like share my story and my tips and tricks, and then talk a little bit about AIT, which I'm sure most of you on here are buzzing about. So my story, first of all, is I'll break it down as quickly as I can. It's not a very long story, but essentially my mom has actually been in the business for almost 11 years. So for me, I grew up with Arbonne around me. It wasn't so much that I knew what was going on. I think a lot of you in here can probably relate that you know what your parents do, but you don't actually know what they do. So I knew she did Arbonne, but I didn't really know what that meant because she started when I was about 10 years old. So it's always been in my life. And growing up, what I did know was the difference between my mom and my dad. So my mom's version of work was, going to the bar with friends, going to dinner with friends, going to lunch with friends, having friends over. She was always present for everything. And then my dad's version of work was I would wake up in the morning, he wouldn't be there. He would come in at 7:30 in a suit, stressed out of his mind, or he would be away for the week. So growing up as a little girl, I always knew what path I wanted to take, and it was the fun one. I wanted to be exactly like my mom. And, it wasn't really until reality struck me that I realized what adult life was like. And that's kind of my first tip is I know as millennials, and I can see there are a lot on here, that it can be sometimes really hard to push your business if you don't have any urgency in your life or life experience, I guess. Because I was exactly the same. I think as millennials, we always just think everything's going to work out. Like I was literally that girl that I was like, okay, worst case scenario, I'll marry rich, right? It was that bad. And that was kind of, first of all, everything's okay until it's not. That's the first thing I'm going to say to you. And that's what I realized very quickly was I grew up in Sydney, where I don't know if any of you are here from Sydney or been Sydney, but it was extremely expensive. And I was kind of that girl that did just think everything was going to work out. Life was all fun and games when my parents were paying for my rent, my food, my car, my phone bill, and everything that came with life. And then in last year in July, they decided to get up and move to the Gold Coast. And that's kind of when reality struck for me. All of a sudden, I was in my last year of uni, so I had to stay, or I wanted to stay, I wanted to finish. And, all of a sudden I was paying for rent, my car, my phone bill, food, and everything that came with life. And all of a sudden, I was forced to pick up 2 jobs. I did 9 to 5 in marketing for a fashion company called Zin, and I was in a bar in Bondi. So I was working all the time. My days would look like I'd wake up at 6 a.m., I'd come home at 5 p.m., I'd shower, I'd have dinner, I'd go to the bar at 7, I'd come home at 2 a.m., I'd wake up at 6 again. And that's what my days look like Monday to Friday. And then I would work the bar Saturday, Sunday, and have full-time uni in my last semester between that. So I soon, very quickly realized 9 to 5 thing wasn't for me, and I genuinely couldn't understand that this is how people live their life. And that was just my personal thing. I know not everyone does it because they want to leave 9 to 5, but for me, I didn't, it wasn't for me. I couldn't understand that this was what adults did. So I called up my mom and I said, get the spare room ready. Once I graduated uni in October last year, and I said, I'm coming to eat, I'm coming to sleep, and I don't want anyone to talk to me. So she put up the spare room, and I did that. I came and I ate and I slept, and she told me that in November I needed to go back. So November came around real quick, and I all of a sudden, my mom said, you need to start telling Zimmerman that you're going back and looking for an apartment again. And that's when I had what I say is my quarter life crisis. I was like, don't send me back. I don't want to go back there. And so I started looking at different business options, and I figured that starting a new business, I would have to invest at least $250,000 to $500,000 to, start up a new business, which was not great for a girl that had just left uni and had no money. There was an 80% chance that it would fail. There would be about 10 years before I'd see any sort of profit, which was not great considering I wanted to leave, my jobs like yesterday. But for me, what stuck out the most is how lonely it would be. And that's when I turned to my mom and I said, I think I want to do Arbonne. And she tells me, she took it with a pinch of salt, but she was also happy dancing inside. So that is what I did. And I guess what pushed me was that I realized that life was not going to get better, and I wasn't going to get to live the life that I wanted unless I made it for myself. And that it wasn't just going to, as much as I thought growing up that it was just all going to fall into place, it wasn't. And I had to realize that for myself. That nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And so that is kind of my motivation that I had in this business when I dived in. So if you're sitting here and you're not really, you're not like fully in, or you're not motivated, you need to find that thing that motivates you. So for me, it was going back to 9 to 5. I really, really didn't want to do that. So I said to my mom, give me 6 months to make this really work. And if it doesn't, you can drag me back by my hair to Sydney and I'll go back to marketing. And that was kind of my driver. So finding, connecting with something, whether you put eyes on your why or whether, you put some sort of urgency or a date there or something. I said to my mom, give me 6 months. And so you need to put some sort of urgency on yourselves. And I know sometimes it can be hard when you're young and you're still figuring out life, but just figuring out what you want for yourself, and whether that's in the version of obviously a vision board or whatever it may be, and making it happen and realizing that these things won't happen if you don't make it happen. So that was kind of my story. Within 6 months, I became an RVP. And then, my mom said, well, now you can stay, which was really lovely of her. But I became an RVP, and then this is now my 12th month and going for Nation. So I just dived straight in. That's another thing I would say is, for me, if the amount of work it takes to get to RVP or NVP, or if you're going for district or area or whatever, you're going to have to do that amount of work eventually. That's what I'm going to, this is what I say to my team. I'm like, you're going to have to do the amount of work it takes to get to DM or AM or RVP or Nation eventually. There's no skipping out on the work. Yeah, maybe you can next month yourself and you're going to say that next month will be better, or next month will be better, or whatever it may be, but you're going to have to get that work done eventually. So I say to my team, just get it done now. Like if you're a consultant here and you want to go district, just get the work done this month, because there is no escaping it. You are going to have to eventually talk to people around you. You are going to have to eventually approach, your friends or family members or whoever it may be that you've been itching to tell this business opportunity about. You're going to have to put yourself out there and maybe get out of your comfort zone sometimes. And, you may as well not beat around the bush and just be like, I'm dedicating this month to making it happen. Or, maybe you'll do it months down the line, but you may as well get it done now. It's going to be the same amount of work regardless. I say to my, a lot of my team, I say, you can get to DM this month or you can get to DM in 2 years, but you're going to have to do the same amount of work to get there. So you may as well just get it done now. If that's what you want for yourself, and not hold it off, because imagine where you could be in 2 years if you just dived in. And a lot of people really love that. That is a drive for a lot of people, where they're like, well, why am I waiting? So just, this the biggest thing for me, it was just getting it done. I knew that I could get RVP in 6 months. I actually set myself for 3 months, which I was like fully convinced I was going to get there. And obviously it didn't happen, but that also didn't stop me. So make sure, if you're not getting to your goal in the month or the time period that you want, that's also completely okay. As long as you know that you want it for yourself, and you have a purpose behind it, then you'll definitely get there. And don't let anything knock you back from doing it. When I didn't get it in 3 months, I was like, okay, 6 months. And I made it happen for myself. So yeah, that was kind of just my story. I dived straight in. I spoke to my best friends. And I will say to you as well, if any of you have seen me before on Instagram, Instagram is not a fast track to success. A lot of the time I disappoint people by saying that, but it's not. I build a lot of my business on Instagram, but the strongest parts of my business come from people that I know. And I was listening to someone that was talking about what Stuart Armfield was saying the other day, and he said, through social media and being a millennial, you actually have to sponsor 5 or 10 times more people than maybe people who are a bit older, because it is harder to build that connection from the get-go when you don't know people, strangers on the other side or whatever it may be. And so my team is big, but it doesn't mean that they're all operating their businesses. So my number one tip to you would be that if you are someone here that isn't reaching out to your warm market, or isn't reaching out to anyone that you know or people around you, and are just sending messages on Instagram hoping that it will happen, it won't. I have been doing that I've been on social media working my business now for a year, and it doesn't just happen through cold messaging on Instagram. You do have to get out there and talk to people that you know as well. So I guess, what do I do on a daily basis? So, I wake up, and the first thing I do is I let my team know that I'm here. So I post, I post if you have a group chat, and in the group chat, if you have a page, I post in the page. Maybe you'll just post some stories on Instagram, but letting them know that you're up for the day and ready to work. Also, it motivates them when they see, you willing to put in the effort. So that's the first thing I do. And I post something motivational in my group, or I give them a tip, or maybe something's happened overnight, or whatever it may be, just letting them know that you're present. And then getting into some income producing activity. So obviously personal development is really big for me. So I listen to some sort of personal development, whether it's in the car or reading a book, or whatever it may be. So I actually was that girl that avoided personal development for a little while. And I will tell you right now that you need it. I was the teenager that was like, oh, I don't need personal development. I'll be just fine. But the minute that I, was like, okay, maybe I'll just try it, my whole business flipped. The way that I looked at it, the way that I saw myself, my motivation, everything flipped. So I do some personal development and then, income producing activity. So my personal preference is, as I said, it's Instagram. So I create content because that's something that I enjoy doing. So what I would say to you is find the thing that you enjoy doing. And this is what I say to my team. So maybe Instagram's not for you. Maybe you don't like enjoying content, creating content. Maybe you find it a chore. That's my mom. That's the majority of fights that go on in our house is her not understanding Instagram and me not understanding how she doesn't understand Instagram. And that's just her, she has found her way, which is completely by belly connection. She likes to go out and talk to people and meet people and have coffees. I like to create content. And finding what it is that you enjoy. So I say, I've got people on my team that are hairdressers, and I say, or makeup artists or whatever it may be. And I say, okay, use those products on your clients, or obviously you like putting makeup on people, put makeup on people and take photos or do tutorials. Again, do hair looks using our hair stuff, or wash people's hair using the shampoo and conditioner and show before and after. I have people that are in my team that are pregnant, and I'm like, okay, share your pregnancy journey and how certain products have helped you. Or, whatever it may be. If you're putting content out there, make sure that you're enjoying it. Make sure that you're enjoying the journey, because anything that you don't enjoy, firstly, people are going to feel that. They feel when you feel pushed to do something, or you're doing something because you think you have to, not because you want to. But also, you want to enjoy the journey. It's like going to the gym. It's very hard to motivate yourself to do something when you don't enjoy it. So figure out what it is that you do enjoy doing and cater your business to that. And I'm sure, it's not as complicated as you may think it is. A lot of my team have incredible stories or incredible lives that they don't think are interesting. There's one girl on my team that's an air hostess, and she wasn't showing anything on her Instagram. And I said to her, why aren't you showing anything with anyone? Like, what, you're posting on your grid, but you're never on your stories. Like, why aren't you posting? And she said, because I just don't think my life is interesting. I don't think anyone would care. And I said, well, I would absolutely love to know what the life of an air hostess looks like. I have no idea. I would love to see, where you travel, what it's like on the plane, the destinations you go to. And she was like, really? And I said, yeah, share that. And she shares that on her stories. And it's the most interesting thing watching someone make a protein shake and the fizz sticks and stuff up in the airplane. Like, I didn't even know, she shows us her sourcing her milk and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I didn't even know those compartments were there. And it's really, really interesting to me. And I'm like, you think people don't care, but people care. Your life is different and everyone's is different. And I was speaking to another girl on my team the other day that she's like, oh, I haven't been posting because I'm moving house. So that's super boring. Like, no one wants to see me move house. And I'm like, I go on YouTube on purpose and search like moving vlogs. I'm like, I love watching people move. I said, share that, like share you maybe doing like a time lapse of you putting boxes together or putting your stuff in boxes or whatever. She's like, really? Like, you would like to see me do that? And I'm like, of course I would. I was like, so whatever you think is boring or is your everyday average life, lots of other people don't see it that way. So I just want to let you know, like, not to overthink that. I post stuff on my stories that is just so random and no, I wouldn't necessarily think people would listen to. Or maybe some of you follow Sarah Copeland, who's on my team. So she lives smack bang in the middle of Bondi. Like, her apartment literally like looked out onto the water, and she does the Bondi to Bronte every day, and she goes and gets coffee and breakfast and stuff. And she was complaining to me a couple of months ago. She was like, I just have nothing to post or nothing to show anyone. She's like, all I do is I get up in the morning and I get my coffee and I walk Bondi to Bronte. And then I come home and I make my breakfast. And then whatever. And I'm like, are you kidding? Like, do you know how many people around the world would love to see your life in one of the most well-known beaches in the world, of you getting up and showing the beach and doing your walk and giving them a taste of Bondi? I'm like, not everyone lives in Bondi. Not everyone, it's not the norm for everyone to, you know, see that beach every day. Like, people want to see the stuff that you don't think that they want to see. So if you're sitting here right now and you're like, I don't know what to post, or I don't think my life's very interesting, I'm telling you right now, there's a 99% chance that I would absolutely love to see what you've got to share. So please don't overthink it, but also share what you enjoy. Don't feel like you have to go online and be someone that you're not, because it's super powerful and people are going to want to join your team for you and because they relate to you. So that's kind of what I would say on that front. And then I just make sure that I'm scheduling in calls. I'm talking to new people. That's really important to me, to make sure that I actually break up my reach outs. So if you're struggling with motivation to reach out to people, I do like 10 in the morning, 10 midday, 10 after lunch, and 10 at nighttime. So it doesn't feel like, if I'm sitting down, I'm like, oh, I've got 40 voice messages to do now, or 40 reach outs. It's the same feeling I have when going to the gym. I'd probably be like, whoa, that's a very overwhelming number. I don't know if I can sit and find the time to do that right now. I don't know if I can find the motivation to do that right now. So if you're someone that maybe is just needing a little bit of motivation, then break it up and do it. Maybe do 5 in the morning, 5 at lunchtime, 5 at night. And it'll literally take you, 15 minutes, 20 minutes out of your day. And you don't feel as overwhelmed with what there is to do. That's something that's really helped me, and I know it's helped my team, because sometimes if you've got a big number in front of you, you find it really hard to do it. And once you start seeing some activity and you start getting the replies and people are coming back interested and all that kind of stuff, and the adrenaline kind of kicks in, and all of a sudden you want to send 100 messages. But if you are struggling, I would say to break it up. And then obviously, I'm sure so many of you have seen the new AIT has come out, which I cried when I watched the video. I'm so lame. But I cried, and I sat in my bed, and the suspense music came on, and I was like, oh my God. And it is incredible, like exceeded all my expectations. I messaged Melissa after, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. It's going to be incredible. And what I will say from going to the AIT that I went to just last month in Fiji is, it is the biggest investment into your business, guys. Like, the biggest investment into your business. I had more reach outs and more people join my team, and more people interested in this business, like probably 10 times people more interested than I did when I got my car. Like, it was insane, the amount of attraction that it brought in to my Instagram, and people texting me and calling me. And it also gave my best friend, who knew I did Arbonne but had absolutely no idea what I did, an insight into what this business is about. And she cried when she left, when she was about to go on the bus, because she said to me, I don't want to leave these people. She's like, I feel like people have welcomed me into a family, and I've never been surrounded by more positive people that make me feel so good about myself. And she cried, and I said, well, there's one way to stay surrounded by them. And she like, the next one came out, and she was like, so you're taking me, right? I'm coming. And I said, well, you could earn it. But I'm sure she just was so blown away by everything. So please, if you're going to do anything for yourself and your business, earn this trip, because not only will you have the most incredible time and you get to show up the people that you love, that time and treat the people that you love and the people that have helped you throughout your journey. But it will be the greatest thing that you ever did for your business. And I'm saying to my team right now is, please take advantage of this month. It is so important not to just dive in December, but get yourself ready. Get yourself ready for, I don't know if Lucy has mentioned the previous qualifications to you of last year. Obviously, they are going to change this year, so it's not something to base yourself off. But, there is a very high chance that it will be based off your central district. Therefore, you do need to build a team in order to have a central district that is working. So, focus this month on not just mentally preparing yourself, but building a team so that you do have that central district behind you for the next couple of months. They're going to help you get there. So definitely get in action, get excited. I've watched the video maybe 40 times over. Keep watching the video, get overwhelmed. If it makes you cry like I did, maybe that's what it takes. But definitely just, get yourself really wrapped around what this trip is going to do for you. It was, definitely in the top 3 trips I've ever been in my life. It was incredible. And I made so many amazing friends and had such a good time. So I really, really encourage you to do that. And yeah, I know the girls have to get to AM, so I'll stop it here because I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I hope that's okay. Or if there's anything I haven't answered that you want me to quickly go over, I can do that as well. Or if you want my specific live from AIT, if you think that I have missed anything, Lucy, I can send you my training and you can post that if you want.
Emma, you are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. We've had to move and we're sitting on the floor of another place, so sorry if you can see out my skirt. But honestly, that was incredible. Thank you so much for that. Your journey is amazing and you're so inspiring. And I just loved your message. You're going to have to do the work at some point, so why not now just get it done? And then you're going to get paid better while you're doing the rest of the work. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. Does any of you guys got any questions?
Thank you so much, honestly.
Really good. I don't know how they're going to top that at AM.
Yeah,
no.
so much training.
Oh my God, thank you. I'm like, I just might copy your thing. No, you're amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm happy all the time. Thank you.
Did you say you're speaking today?
Yes, first up in 30 minutes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You'll be amazing. You'll be amazing. I heard they're recording it, so I'll be watching it later.
Yes. You're wonderful. Thank you so much.
No worries. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.